I don't know, like, who she's really implying are the bad guys there, because I mean they had such a big hand in so much of
well I mean even in this dumb prayer, like she prioritizes capital and like people who own or work for the state, which collaborates with people who own.
She's like
it's like
pray harder for those of us that are doing the worst shit, basically. Like we are the ones
exactly. It's so fucking like
it's like
pray hard for the Tesla worker, but pray harder for Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's like the typical sort of like liberal self-flagellation thing where it's like, oh, I'm just so bad. Like that whole thing that Zizek says about how self-flagellation. How self-flagellation basically conceals the secret enjoyment of privilege. Basically, you can go around whipping yourself and be like, oh, aren't I awful? Aren't I naughty? Look at all the cake I'm eating, and you can't have any cake. It's just like.
And she goes behind the curtain and just downs a pint of adrenochrome blood. Like, God, she's just a monster, isn't she? Yeah. No, I sound like Alex
Nancy
Jones.
Pelosi goes behind the curtain, finds the potted plant, and pisses in it.
You gotta get your kick somewhere, you know. You gotta get your kick somehow.
Yeah.
It's either that or the fucking adrenochrome. So
I was literally gonna say that.
Really?
Yeah. That's so
I'm
weird.
surprised Alex Jones doesn't go after Pelosi more, actually, because she looks much more lizard-like than Hillary Clinton, I think.
Who?
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, just in the face, she looks a lot more like she has more lizard features than Hillary Clinton. But then maybe that's kind of part of the shapeshiftiness of it. I would need to talk to David Icke to really know. Or Billy Corgan, but...
it's maybe he doesn't like maybe the fact that she doesn't have tons of flies landing on her is the problem.
Yeah, but then
I think that might be the reason.
I think maybe actually that is more evidence that Hillary is the lizard, because that's the shape-shifting nature of it. But I would need to check with David Icke to kind of confirm that.
Or it could be that Nancy Pelosi has like way higher chemical content and it repels the flies. I don't know.
Watch someone say it's anti-Semitic to compare Nancy
that's what I was gonna
Pelosi
say.
What, to say that she has lizard-like features? I mean, to say someone that, like, you know, they look a bit lizardy, I don't think is anti-Semitic. I mean, she looks like she could have a forked tongue. She looked like it could go at any minute. Like she just got that look in her face, and like the fucking way her skin hangs off, like she's about to peel a fresh one.
It should be pronounced like this: sharing a responsive prayer for justice.
Exactly. Oh, creepy. But, you know, she's probably definitely been to Bohemian Grove and, like, probably definitely been to some Bilderberg meetings to decide on who's going to become...
Well, again, she has literally $120 million net worth. Yeah. So she's been in Congress for decades, and, the Congress salary is generous, $174,000 a year. It's not end up with $120 million generous.
This is
like it would take you 100 years.
This is Nancy Pelosi's Imagine, isn't it? It's just like, you know, we're all in this together, aren't we? But I'm in this with a fucking $5 million a mansion and a pool and help everywhere, and you are there in a shared flat cupboard that you live in fucking squalor, and now you've been fired from your minimum wage job. But we're all in this together. Like, it's the same fucking...
That fucking video, that drives me up the wall every time I think of it. The video of her in front of her fridge talking about how we're all in this together.
Well,
it's just like...
It's just so, like, read the room. Like, read the goddamn room.
Well, she did read the room. It's her kitchen, and it's full of people who will tell her that she's perfectly within her right, because she either pays them or they live with her.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's happened a few times, and I feel like it's definitely the isolation and, like, everyone being shut away and, like, lack of normal human communication has just meant that, like, people are doing mad shit for attention. And even, like, Nancy Pelosi's just begging for everyone to pray for her now. Like, it's just...
So, like, all things considered, let's talk about what this kind of press release actually says to, like, the working class person of America. Like, the person who, has been sort of raised to think that like the worker is this blue overalls wearing guy who has a huge silver wrench that he carries over his shoulder on his way to work every day, and that the Democrats are the party of the working people. What do they think when they see this?
Maybe they're like, yeah, I'm praying too. I'm a hard Christian, American.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling, but I'm praying right there with you, Nancy. God bless. I can't wait for Mr. Biden to come and alleviate us from all of this.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I think that the actual Christian angle doesn't work because the Republicans do it too, and they have more power in the government. They've won more elections in the government. Like they've so successfully like absorbed the evangelical thing. So like this, in my opinion, is like, is it her trying to do that? Or is it her trying to, distract from the fact that, they just voted on yet another like expansion of like military funding and shit like that?
It's just like Mark Zuckerberg remembering to blink in Congress, mate. It's just little signs to just convince everyone that they are human and that they like have a conscience, or that they are like not these beasts that they actually are, like that she even describes herself as in this fucking prayer, which is the just absolute mind-boggling thing. It's like, you do know, like I think she does, but she must have subconsciously know that every second line in this prayer literally refers to her. Like she must subconsciously have sort of been like, oh well, just pray for those people and a little pray for me, but we're kind of phrasing in a way that's for people that need it. Like, but in a way because they're bad people. But I'm not a bad person. I just need some prayers. I just need some love and attention. I'm lonely. It's fucking COVID. Like, I feel like I don't know how someone that kind of
do you think her comms director possibly is who did this? Like, is Nancy Pelosi? Like, I consider it a possibility that like the comms director came to Nancy Pelosi and was like, listen, we need to say something to like raise people's spirits on a Sunday morning to try to get them to understand that the Democrats are on their side in this COVID thing. I was thinking maybe sharing a responsive prayer for justice, and Nancy Pelosi, took her froyo like spoon out of her mouth for a second and turned her
prayer.
Sure, whatever.
A prayer for justice for who? From whom, though, is what I'm trying to think. Who exactly?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it?
Who exactly is the justice for, and who exactly is the perpetrator of the injustice? I mean, is she admitting here that she is one of the perpetrators of the injustice? If not, then who specifically
it's kind of that, isn't
it? Then who specifically is it that she's talking about when talking about these so-called like perpetrators of injustice? It's completely empty. It's an empty platitude because it doesn't actually pinpoint where any of the problems are coming from. It just is like, oh, there's this like,
it's newspeak.
Yeah, it's like there's this. It is newspeak. It's like there's this amorphous evil in the world that just happens to crop up once in a while. Things like bigotry and racism and poverty and all of these bad things that we can't do anything about, but they just exist, and we just need to pray for each other. It's like
we can go through this right now, like little bit by little bit. Pray for those who are hungry. Pray harder for those who will not feed them. You literally just fucking gave like billion. What was it? Even trillion or some crazy fucking number of money into the fucking stock market for companies without the fucking mandate to make sure that nobody lost their jobs, so that people would still have money, so that they could still fucking feed their families. You're the person that fucking did that. Pray for those who struggle to pay their fucking bills. Pray harder for the wealthy who do not care. Like, you are that.
Again, just to mention, Nancy Pelosi has $120 million net worth. She is the third richest person. By the way, that's fucking insane that she's not the richest person in Congress.
That's mental.
But she's the third richest, only beaten by two Republicans, Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler, who has $500 million, and Montana Republican Greg Giaforte. I don't know how to say his last name if that's incorrect, but he's barely beat her with $135 million.
Pray for the sick and lonely.
I don't understand why those three people have that much money, though. And one of them has the gall to send out a prayer for people who can't pay their bills, telling people to pray harder for the wealthy who don't care.
That is actually sickening. And then just literally like last one I'll fucking repeat because I can't. believe. I just can't believe how the fucking cognitive dissonance of a lot of it. And any fucking Democrats that are there, like, rooting for Pelosi and Biden, like, you fucking got brainworms, mate. It's mad. Pray for the sick and lonely. Pray harder for those who will not give them comfort. You just fucking, again, second election in a row, fucking shanked and backstabbed the one fucking candidate that was actually trying to do something for the sick and for the lonely fucking old people within fucking homes, giving them care, giving them all of that shit. You literally just denied that. You denied that by fucking sniping fucking Bernie again, the second one in a row.
They organized the entire apparatus to deny any chance at significant change to the healthcare system, which would absolutely do.
Pray harder for those who will not give them comfort. Pray harder for those like me, motherfucker. This is what this fucking prayer says, and it's pretty gross. Like,
I don't mean to moralize or anything. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. But it is sickening. It is like you read it and you're like, fuck this. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you say, yeah, send that out during this time, especially?
Yeah, it just, it's another just, yeah, not reading the fucking room moment.